listening to. I say you are listening to. You are absolutely listening to the George Espinlove Show, coming to you live from the Funny Farm. Now, with no further ado, here comes Georgie!
Monday night, and we are going to kick the week off with a tremendous guest tonight, and we are going to be speaking about a very sobering subject, mental illness. And we'll have a young lady on in just a few moments that's going to discuss and tell us exactly what it's like, because she's been there and done that. First of all, I want to welcome each and every one of you to our friends down the street, around the corner, across this great nation, and around the world. I welcome you to the George Espinlove Show that airs Monday through Friday at this time on this network. And we're glad to be here on a Monday night, and we thank you for tuning in. Yep. Now listen to me. We appreciate the emails that we've been receiving, and I say this each and every night. You send us one, or if you've already sent one, send us another. That's all right. Send 2 or 3, 4 or 5. Whatever you want to do. Just George C.E. That's George C.E. at Comcast.net. George C.E. at Comcast.net. And we will answer each and every one of them, and we'll get back to you just as quick as we can. I want to give a great big shout out to my friend Graham Forster, who is in Covington, England. Graham, if you're listening tonight, I appreciate you, bud. And to all of our other friends that are listening to the show, we're going to bring this young lady on. She's out of New York City, and she has a real story to tell. But before we do, let me say this. While you are listening to this show on whatever device you may have, be it your laptop or your desktop or your iPhone or your Droid system or whatever, would you do me a favor? Call a friend, call a family member, shoot them an email, an instant message, however you communicate with folks, and tell them to tune in, because this is a very, very, very important show tonight. And I believe that we can learn something, and I believe with all of my heart that whether it's tonight, live, or later, when other folks listen to the show, this is going to help someone somewhere. And if you have any comments or questions that you want to ask Linda, call this number, 302-497-3414. That number again, 302-497-3414. Or if you want to scout me, no, it's Skype, right? If you want to Skype me, it's george.espinlaub, Espenlaub. And right now, we're going to bring Linda Katz on the show with us. Linda, good evening, and welcome to the George Espinlove Show.
Good evening.
You have a very interesting story to tell, and I told our listeners that I believe someone, somewhere, in fact, all of us are going to learn something tonight, and I believe someone, somewhere, is going to receive help by what you say. This is a very important program tonight because it's something that each and every one of us, it's either touched us as individuals or touched someone in our family or a loved one that we know. So, saying all that, what is mental illness?
Well, mental illness is really a chemical imbalance in the brain. It's like if you have a screw that's loose, you have to tighten it, sort of like to control it. And that's what you have to do with mental illness. You have to control it by taking medication sometimes if needed and talking out your problems to a therapist if needed. These things are part of the process of recovery from mental illness. And mental illness, unfortunately, is a stigma. And people have misconceptions about it. People sometimes say mental illness causes violence. Mental illness causes a person to become insane or crazy. But that's not true. Mental illness is just like an illness like diabetes. So you have to treat it. And along that treatment with just seeing a psychiatrist and therapist may not be enough. Maybe someday you want to get a job and you need a supportive mental health agency to help you. Maybe someday you want to get married and find it difficult to understand mental illness. So maybe you need a social group to join, a support network. And mental illness is caused by a number of factors. Hereditary sometimes, some psychological trauma or tragedy that has happened in your life, and sometimes the environment in which you live in or where you work at. It depends. And that's what mental illness is really about. There's many mood disorders with mental illness. There's depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. I'd say it's a mood and thought disorder. So these are the types. There are other mental illnesses, but I just want to stick with the mood disorders because I suffer from one, bipolar disorder, manic depression.
Could you tell us a little bit about your background and your childhood and kind of bring us up to date where we are now?
Yes. Mental illness started maybe back in my grandfather's days, but really it started with my mother. And I was only 10 years old when she died. And it was very difficult on me as a child growing up with a diagnosed mother. And sometimes she would not take her pills. She would purposely forget them. or throw them into the toilet. And my parents had fights for a long time before she was able to really accept her diagnosis and her treatment. And it was very hard during those years. And afterwards, growing up wasn't easy. Throughout high school and college, I was known as a depressed person. You know, when my mom was sick, it scared me. I was really scared, and I didn't know much about mental illness back then. And I was so scared that when I became was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, I said to my mom's psychiatrist, which was also mine, I don't want to be like my mother. And he said, you're not like your mother. So I knew even in childhood that her illness would have an impact on my life. And I didn't know how good it would be or bad it would be for me. So that's how mental illness came to my family. And as well, when I was in high school and college, I didn't date much. And, you know, when I was in Israel by myself, I even fell to pieces there. And when it came time to leave Israel, I thought my parents wanted me home as quickly as possible. So I did get homesick, and that was a part of my mental health. But I didn't get diagnosed until I was 24. And you know, that was my self growing up. And when after college I graduated, I couldn't find a job. And I went on interviews. The business sector was a cutthroat environment for me. And it was very difficult growing up. And having to accept that I have a mental illness. And once I accepted it, you know, I told many people, families and friends, that I got sick, that I had manic depression. But my parents, they wanted me to keep it quiet and hide it. And I didn't. And I had to deal with the consequences. So,
ladies and gentlemen, Linda has written a book entitled Surviving Mental Illness. It's her story. And you can get that book at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, OutskirtsPress.com. Can they get it off of your website too, Linda?
Yes, actually, my website, there's a section on book, which includes, there's a button for Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Outskirts Press, and also I have my own list of amounts that I'm doing through PayPal. So
good. And that website is surviving-mental-illness.com. Surviving-mental-illness.com. And we'll continue to tell folks about what the website is and where they can get your book. When you said something that struck me, excuse me. You refused to keep it a secret or to hide it, and you said you would have to face the consequences. What were some of the consequences that you faced?
The stigma,
Mm-hmm.
the humiliation of what it was like, of what it's like having a mental illness. I was very open and honest, and especially during my single years, and when I started to date, I had a tough time. When I told men that I was diagnosed with bipolar, they ran away. I remember there was this one person I used to date. He seemed to understand at first. And then once he told me to forget about my pills. I'm like, I thought he understood. I thought he knew that I had a sickness. I thought he understood. Obviously, he did not. And I was crying the whole night. And the next morning, he comes to me. I don't think my parents would appreciate if I dated someone with bipolar. So it wasn't just him alone. It was his family. And I started to realize that if I can't have a community for support within my own community, I would go elsewhere. And my therapist had suggested I join NAMI. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, formerly called the National Alliance for the Mentally Ill. And they had something called the Friendship Network. And they helped me regain the confidence for me to socialize again, but also to recognize that I'm not alone. There are other people with mental illnesses, different kinds of problems, but similar situations to what I have. And so I even dated a few people from that network, and they gave me the confidence to go back into the real world and struggle again. And finally, I found happiness in a man who's my husband today and who also has a mental illness. And I am proud to be with him, loving him every day because he understands me and supportive. And it's so important to have that in a family. You know, my parents wanted me to keep it quiet. I couldn't. And then I realized that, you know, I could do something about this. I could change the way my community, my culture, change the way they treat people with mental illness. Unfortunately, the Orthodox Jewish community is tight-knit, and still people are treated as outsiders. People with mental illness, that is.
You said you were diagnosed when you was 24 years old?
Yes.
Up until that time, were you seeing any therapist or any medical people at all, or were you just dealing with this thing on your own?
Once I started developing symptoms, and I didn't know what was going on. I was in another universe where I could not escape. And my father was the one who did notice that I was going through some mental type of illness, just like my mother did from her experience. Mm-hmm. So he didn't know what else to do, so he called my mother's psychiatrist and begged him to take me as a patient, and which he did. But before that, I was also getting therapy help at this clinic, which I attend till today. It's called the Advanced Center for Psychotherapy. And I see a therapist. And since then, I've been using the clinic, and later on, they helped me so much. Sometimes I would go crying to them for an issue that I needed help in, or sometimes I would discuss my problems, especially about a guy I used to have infatuated with in college. And I got sick also because of that. And, and if you want to know more about this and other major manic episodes, you can read my book. And the thing about it is that I write straight from the heart, and I talk to you straight from the heart, how it really affected me.
The reason I ask you, you were diagnosed when you was 24. The reason I asked you if you were seeing any other therapists and so on and so forth before that, you said, and it struck me, you said that you were in another universe. You were in that lonely, dark place, whatever it might be called, and you were no doubt through your years, from the time you were very young until the time you were diagnosed, you probably asked yourself the question, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? And when you said that you were in another universe, I couldn't help but think, and you said you felt so all alone, and then you found out that you wasn't. I couldn't help but think about the veterans that, and for years, we knew something was wrong with us. We just didn't know what it was called until someone finally called it post-traumatic stress disorder. And then things begin to fall into place, and things that you did or the way you acted or how you felt, all of a sudden they were like pieces of a puzzle, and they started to fit. And you begin to get it, if I can use that term. Mm-hmm. Once you were diagnosed when you was 24, did that, just the diagnosis itself, help you?
Yes, because there was a solution to my problem. There was an answer. Mm-hmm. I was able to get treated for it and be able to live a productive life. I didn't know how productive I would be or what my next goals and dreams would be. I certainly couldn't go back to the way I was before I got sick. But once I started taking the medications, I started to see clarity. But, you can see that clarity, but you can remember your episodes. I mean, you remember them. You remember what they felt like. You remember that they weren't real. And it's terrifying. My parents watched me like a hawk when I was going through my episodes. And they were so scared of me as to what I would do next. And, and you're talking about veterans. I was watching President Obama's speech on mental illness today that the National Conference of Mental Illness was held at the White House. And today I was listening to his speech, and I have to tell you, hearing the president speak about mental illness is so significant in our lives, especially for the veterans who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. They can actually remember what it felt like and everything during the war. And, and for me, I remember my episodes like they were yesterday. And, so that's the way I had felt about it.
What did you experience when you were going through a manic depression episode?
I experienced racing thoughts, shopping sprees, could not sleep, sometimes had trouble with my appetite, things like that. I'll give you one episode that I remember. I paid $2,500 to see a psychic so she could bring this guy that I had liked in college closer to me. Mm-hmm. And when my father heard about it, he went ballistic. And of course, I didn't know what I had done until later, but my father sent 2 police cops to this psychic and somehow got my money back, and couldn't believe that how I easily was taken advantage of. So that was one episode, a big shopping spree. And another one, I said I was lying on the sofa in my living room, and I thought I heard people praying to me as if I was some kind of prophet. And I always knew I was special, but I didn't think my episodes would have gone that far. So, and I had other manic episodes at least 5 times in my life, and they're all in my book. And if interested in wanting to know more, you can find it in my book. And, and that's what my life was like with dealing with a manic episode. It was scary for me. It was scary for my family. And the shopping sprees were not good. And then I bought a lot of stuff at Walgreens, and my parents told me, "What did you do? Take half of them back." So I did that. So,
So
That's what it was like.
ladies and gentlemen, go to Linda's website, surviving-mental-illness.com. And there you can read all about it, and there you can purchase the book. When you go to the little book tab that's on her website, there's some places on there. Just click on it. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, outskirtpress.com, and there you can get it right there through PayPal too, right?
Yes.
And the title of the book is the same as the website, Surviving Mental Illness. But remember, the website is surviving-mental-illness.com. Linda, when you would have these episodes, when you were going through them, they were real to you, right?
Yes. Yes, they were. I didn't know that I was not in the real world then. It was like, you were stuck in here, and then you're trying to get out, but you can't because something is not letting you get out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it really felt like. I thought it was real what was happening to me. Mm-hmm. I thought, some of the things that had happened were real. I mean, were real and were not real. Like the boy I liked, that part was real. But the things, the hallucinations I had and the delusions I had of him and the thoughts, they were not real. And it took a while with therapy and with the medications to take effect. And once they did, I started to wake up as if I was coming out of a dream.
Mm-hmm.
As if I was coming out of a nightmare or something. A dream. So
when you were in these episodes would take place, see if I can word it right. You were in a place where fantasy and reality are kind of all bundled together. And at the time when you're in that place, you really can't differentiate between the two. Am I right?
Yes, you're right. 100%.
Now, we talked about the stigma. And I can remember as a boy growing up that when the adults would talk about mental illness, of course they didn't use that word. And they wouldn't say or talk about the situation that an individual found themselves in. They wouldn't talk about it loud. It would be in whispers. And as they'd be whispering about someone that had a mental illness, their eyes would be going to and fro here and there, making sure that no one was coming around the corner and all those kind of things. It was something that people didn't talk about unless they whispered or they was in little groups. And it was something that wasn't even mentioned out in public. And then, of course, people are cruel and children are cruel. Humans can be very, very cruel. And when they find out that someone had mental illness or was recovering from mental illness or had a mental illness, then the taunts and the jeers and the whispering and all those things take place. Have we made any headway in society as far as the stigma goes, or are we still stuck in the mud?
I think we made some headway, but there are sometimes when we haven't. I mean, yes, it's known, mental illness. I think the problem is probably the way they are educated.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are still do not know since they women and I think the news how they tell stories about mental illness, that is not rational thinking. Mm-hmm. The news that we've just heard, like at what happened in Newtown, Connecticut,
yes,
in that elementary school, it made it so that mental illness was caused by violent acts. That's not true. The majority of people with mental illness are not violent. If they're treated properly with medications and have the supports they need, then they can be of help. But if they're not in treatment, they just get worse. And sometimes people commit suicide because of that. But that's not the real thing about mental illness. The real thing is it's a disease just like any other illness, and it has to be treated like you would treat diabetes. I mean, let's say someone has cancer. Oh, well, they could deal with that, but when it comes with mental illness, they treat it as a whole separate story. And that's not right. And I think I may have to go soon because my minutes are acting up.
Okay. You tell me, how much longer do we have? Do you know?
Well, it's starting to beep a bit. And when it beeps, it means I need to put a new recharge it.
Okay. Can we get you to come back again and we'll pick up where we left off?
Sure.
All right.
I'd like that very much.
All righty. I'll drop you an email or you can give me a call and we'll set up a date and we'll go from right here. How's that?
Fine.
All right.
Very good.
All righty. Linda, thank you very much. I'll continue to plug your website and your book. You get your phone all charged up and then we'll get together and we'll plan another date that you can come back on the show. All righty?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And, ladies and gentlemen, now, I'm sure that each and every one of us either knows someone or has a very close loved one that has either had mental illness or is going through a bout with mental illness. And I was sitting here listening to Linda, and I'm not an expert on this by no means, but I was sitting here listening to Linda, and I was thinking, I read, and this has been quite some time ago, so the figures may have went up, but I read that over half of Americans, over half of Americans are taking some kind of antidepressant pill medicine. And I listened to her, and when we was talking about that stigma, and when she comes back, we'll pick up right from there. But I was thinking about that stigma. How can we turn up our nose or turn our back and pretend that it isn't there, or whisper about it, or poke fun at someone, when over half of us in America is taking some kind of antidepressant pill or some type of antidepressant medicine? That's like when I was an alcoholic, I used to say, that guy or that gal is an alcoholic. I just drink too much. You see what I'm saying? Or that guy or that girl has got a real problem. I just have a few difficulties. But yet I'm going through the same thing they're going. So, look it up somewhere, Google it, find it, and if you come up with the same answer that I read about, that over half of us here in America are taking some kind of antidepressant pill or some kind of antidepressant medicine. If you find that answer or you have anything you want to add, give me a call, 302-497-3414. That number again is 302-497-3414. And I thank Linda for being on the show. We've got to bring her back, because this is a very somber discussion that we're having. And for you that have listened and for you that are going to listen later, this is a young lady that has been there and done that. And she is very courageous. She said, I will not hide the fact that I have a mental illness. I won't bury it. I won't pretend it's not there. I know there'll be consequences, but I'm not going to keep it quiet. I think she's to be commended for her courage and for her standing up and facing the situation head on. And I believe that she can be a tremendous help to others. She has a real story to tell, so we're going to get her back just as soon as we can at a later date. So if you have anything to say, 302-497-3414. 302-497-3414. I'll be back right after this.
Mr. Hilda, Hacienda Records, what's up?
It don't matter where I go. People always talk pretending like they know my soul. Trying to fill my mind with negativity. It'll take more than that. You never have control of me. Some they sit behind computer screens, writing hateful things like they are still 13. Green eyes always looking at me, wanting everything that they see. You're criticizing every little thing, never positive, only negative. Green eyes always looking at me, wanting everything that they see. You're criticizing every little thing. Just get over yourself and get off your jealousy. True. little thing. Just get over yourself and get off your jealousy.
Why everything I do is like they want to criticize. Spend your whole life wasting time telling lies. But I ain't tripping on you hypocrites, frontin' like you perfect. No, you hate me cause I'm getting rich. But in my seat is where you wanna sit. They talked about Jesus, so I don't even trip. These jealous people wanna point the finger, looking at me trying to judge a known rap singer.
I've been called it all, it ain't nothing new. And I've heard it all, it's probably true. That's always looking at me, wanting everything that they see. You're criticizing every little thing, never positive, only negative. Green's always looking at me, wanting everything that they see. You're criticizing every little thing. Just get over yourself and get off your jealousy. Green's always looking at me, wanting everything that they see. You're criticizing every little thing, never positive, only negative. Green's always looking at me, wanting everything that they see. You're criticizing every little thing. Just get over yourself and get off your jealousy.
I want you to join me tomorrow night. There I go trying to think and talk at the same time. Tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, excuse me, we will have a man on by the name of Chad Meek. And Chad is in the process of making a motion picture, and it's going to be a UFO thriller. But not only that, this is based on actual events. Tomorrow night, listen, if you like the terrestrial things, if you like the UFOs and the aliens and visitations and abductions, then you want to join me tomorrow night when Chad comes on here and shares with us. I mean, it's going to be exciting. I will tell you in advance, and I'll mention it again when we put the notes up on the show page and on our face page and all those other places. I will tell you now that it's going to be one of those get up on the edge of your chair. It's going to be one of those kind of shows. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be intriguing. You don't want to miss what this man has to say. It is going to be very, very interesting. And he is going to talk about some things that are actually documented. So tune in tomorrow night with me when Chad Meek will be here at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be exciting. In the meantime, go to this website, surviving-mental-illness.com. That is surviving-mental-illness.com. That is Linda Katz, the lady who was just on with us. That is Linda Katz's website. There, you can go to pull down the little tab that says books and pull that down and you will see her book, Surviving Mental Illness, her story. And you can click on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, OutskirtsPress.com, so on and so forth. And there's a place on there that you can even get it directly from her by PayPal. So do that. She will be coming back. We will set up another date, and we'll set it up soon because it is a very interesting, relevant topic for this day and age in which we live. If you have any comments or questions, I probably won't be able to answer them, but if you have any comments about mental illness, or you know of someone that is battling this disease, 302-497-3414. That's 302-497-3414. And we can talk about it. Or if you've got something else that you want to talk about, give it a shot. 302-497-3414. Here's a man that we're going to have on the show June the 20th. That is on a Thursday night. A fellow by the name of Michael Callahan, an artist, a singer. Here is one of his songs.
I heard all the ladies love a man in a uniform. Well, I got a bright blue vest and a pair of Velcro shoes. But when I click that neon sign, they all come running, looking for a little express lane rendezvous. I'm gonna scan them melons, gonna bag them buns, gonna sack those thighs, thinking my oh my. Hate to see them go, but love to watch them leave. There's a cleanup on aisle 3. Yeah, it's minimum wage, but sometimes it pays to be the checkout boy. There's a blonde-haired bombshell bopping down my grocery runway, with a tiny tank top tied right above her cut-off jeans. Ma'am, did you find everything okay? 'Cause I know that I did. You don't need no receipt, satisfaction's guaranteed. I'm gonna scan them melons, gonna bag them buns, gonna sack those thighs, thinking my oh my. Hate to see them go, but love to watch them leave. There's a cleanup on aisle 3. Yeah, it's minimum wage, but sometimes it pays to be the checkout boy. I'm gonna take them to the bakery and roll them around, open up the freezer, try to cool them on down. Buy a dozen roses, they're twice marked down. They only really love my employee discount. Next in line, please. I'm gonna scan them melons, gonna bag them buns, gonna sack those thighs, thinking my oh my. Hate to see them go, but love to watch them leave. There's a cleanup on aisle 3. Yeah, it's minimum wage, but sometimes it pays to be the checkout. Oh, yeah, it's minimum wage, but sometimes it pays to be the checkout boy.
Remember, ladies, it is double coupon day. Oh, I'm gonna need a price check on this one. Come on down, let me check you out.
Michael Callahan, and he'll be with us on June the 20th. That's a Thursday night, right here on the George Espinlab Show. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to play some music by my good friend, Remus Tucker.
Say goodbye, I love you, that's for sure. I let my pride, Lord, stand in my way. Gonna miss my baby girl named Linda Kay. I'm on that freight train, rounding out Georgia. See my tail light, looking down the track, rolling up bound for sweet Carolina. You know my baby wants me back. For sweet Carolina. You know my baby wants me back. Heaven knows the grass was looking greener until I got there, and man, they got meaner. back to you. I'm on that freight trail, rumbling out of Georgia. See my tail lights, looking down the track, rolling northbound for sweet Carolina. You know my baby wants me back for sweet Carolina. You know my baby wants me back. Till the morning sun. You know that green light turn right to blue. So baby, I wanna come back to you. I'm on that freight train, rumbling down to Georgia. See my tail lights, looking down the track, rolling northbound for sweet Carolina. You know my baby wants me back for sweet Carolina. You know my baby rolling northbound for sweet Carolina. You know my baby wants me back.
And that and Sunday morning, the episodes of Unshackled, produced by Pacific Garden Mission out of Chicago, Illinois. You can go back into the archives and you can listen to them. I think Saturday night's feature was the Charles Palmer story, and then yesterday morning we had the feature, the Jimmy Rose story. So if you missed one or any of those, go back and listen to them. They are exciting. They are thrilling. And that goes along with the shows that we had last week and the week before that and the week before that and so on and so forth. Go back and listen to them if you missed them. And you can download them. Download one, some, or if you have the time, you can download all of them if you want. It's entirely up to you. I want to thank Linda Katz for being with us tonight. And her telephone was giving out. It was in the process of dying, so she had to scurry away. But we will be bringing her back, and we'll pick up right where we left off. A very, very relevant subject. Surviving Mental Illness. And she wrote the book. That's the title of her book, Surviving Mental Illness. And you can get it at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, or OutskirtsPress.com. Or you can go to her website, surviving-mental-illness.com, and you can get the book there, or you can purchase it right from her site through PayPal. So there's the way you get it. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, OutskirtsPress.com, or through PayPal. And she will come back and we'll continue right where we left off. Wow. Anyhow, as I was saying, here's our good friend, Michael Callahan, one more time.
There's a neon sign on on a red dirt road saying welcome to paradise. And the hillbilly junk that I call my truck is sitting there on the right. The old gray goat climbing on my boat pulls the doors right off of the line. And the dog named Elvis that I found in Memphis is watching the cars go by. It don't sound like much, but it's my little piece of the pie. It may not be Trump Towers, boy, but I'm living the high life in Trailer Park Paradise. In Trailer Park Paradise. There's old Bobby Jack with the jailhouse tat saying born in the USA. And Rita sitting there with curlers in her hair. She been baking them beans all day. Throw the satellite dish on the barbecue pit. We're gonna boil them crawfish down. Turn the twinkle lights on and burn them all year long. You can see them from the edge of town. Now we don't need martinis or a fancy French menu. We got quick stop chili cheese weenies and an ice cold Mountain Dew. In Trailer Park Paradise. In Trailer Park Paradise. Yeah, Trailer Park Paradise. Yeah, Trailer Park Paradise. Come on. So if you're passing by and you see the sign, my screen door's open most all the time. No dress code needed, no cover charge. We got Smokey and the Bandit on the VCR. Throw the tarp in the truck, crank the water hose up, jump off that roof and do a belly flop. She's a single wide with a double wide bun. So come on down and get you some of the beautiful life in Trailer Park Paradise. In Trailer Park Paradise. Yeah, Trailer Park Paradise. Yeah, Trailer Park Paradise. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on down. Get your piece of the pie. Yeah, what a beautiful life.
And I want to give a great big shout out to my friend Lou Balls and Davina. I think I'm saying that. No, I'm not even sure I'm saying that right. Forgive me, Lou, if I said that name wrong. But anyhow, a big shout out to Lou and Davina. Am I even close? I need to know. But anyhow, I'm shouting to you guys. Let me know if I said it right. Straighten me up so I can fly right one more time. Wow. Can I mess things up or what? Homer T. Williams. And that is Homer T. Williams. Hey, while the music was playing, let me get this thingy. I was looking at the some of the information on antidepressants on psychcentral.com. I found this. Antidepressant use up 400% in the United States. That's over the last 2 decades. And I think this was released in October 19th, and I'm not sure whether it was 2011 or 2012. But nonetheless, it says, the report from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's National Center for Health Statistics found that 11% of Americans over the age of 12 takes an antidepressant, with about 14% taking the medication for more than 10 years. It goes on to say the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey found that antidepressants were the third most common prescription drug taken by Americans of all ages from 2005 to 2008, and the most frequently used medication by people between the ages of 18 and 44. It goes on to say the study also found that women are 2.5 times more likely to take antidepressant medication as males, while 23% of women ages 40 to 59 take antidepressants more than in any other age or sex group. So I guess that all goes along with what I was saying with the stigma attached to mental illness, as our guest was talking about, Linda Katz. When we have that many Americans and more taking antidepressant pills, do we have the right to turn our nose up at mental illness or put a stigma to it? Because it just don't seem right. You know what I'm saying? But anyhow, 302-497-3414, and my thanks to Linda Katz, surviving mental illness, and she will be back again very, very soon. We will reschedule her. Hopefully we can bring her back next week, or sometime next week. We'll make a spot for her. Hopefully she can come back then. Surviving Mental Illness, that's the title of her book. So go to surviving-mental-illness.com, and there you can order the book. Go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, outskirtspress.com, or right there on her website. She has been there, done that, and she has been very, very courageous to write about her episodes, to tell people, to educate people of exactly what is mental illness. So, Linda Katz, she'll be back with us again. All right, where am I at here? I'm going to get it. I wasn't prepared for, anyhow. Now, if I already played this, blame it on me. Naturally, it's from love. Seriously. I'll get it right, I promise. Maybe not tonight, but I will get it right.
Thinking about my Cajun love out there, back home south of New Orleans. Yeah, back home south of New Orleans. I played the blues all night in Memphis. I paid my dues up in Tennessee. Been down this road so many times before. with my loved ones and all my friends. Come on! They all know me out west of Texas. And they all know me west of Baton Rouge. If I ever will lose your loving, girl, there will be nothing left to lose. Hey! Nothing blowing out here but the leaves in the trees. They ain't blowing, no, there ain't no breeze. Thinking about my Cajun people there, back home south of New Orleans. Yeah, back home south of New Orleans. Going back home south of New Orleans. Yeah, back home south of New Orleans. I left my loved ones and headed west to Memphis. Saw her standing there by the door. Saw the tears in her eyes when I left her. She said goodbye, I love you, that's for sure. I let my pride, Lord, stand in my way. Gonna miss my baby girl named Linda Kay. I'm on that freight train, rounding down Georgia. See my tail light, looking down the track, rolling upbound for sweet Carolina. You know my baby wants me back. For sweet Carolina. You know my baby wants me back. Heaven knows the grass was looking greener until I got there, and man, they got meaner. Making money and living in the sweet life, missing nothing if you don't count my wife. You know that green light turned right to blue. So baby, I wanna come back to you. I'm on that freight train, running down to Georgia. See my tail lights, looking down the track, rolling upbound for sweet Carolina. You know my baby wants me back. For sweet Carolina. You know my baby wants me back. Till the morning sun. You know that green light turned right to blue. So baby, I wanna come back to you. I'm on that freight train, rumbling down to Georgia. See my tail lights, looking down the track, rolling upbound for sweet Carolina. You know my baby wants me back. For sweet Carolina. You know my baby rolling upbound for sweet Carolina. You know my baby wants me back.
Well, I'm not a crook.
Oh, well, wasn't that exciting? Well, if I played one song twice or played one song once or got things out of order, I don't apologize. Stuff like that happens. You know what I'm saying? And besides, that's usually how I roll around here. But my man Charlie isn't with me tonight. He's off. I don't even know where he is, but he's off. He took the night off, but he'll be with us. Hey, this gang's going to take this show on the road here. Is it Thursday? Man, I can't even ask Charlie. I think it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We're going to take this show on the road. The gang is hitting the road, and we'll have the show down in Tall Pines, Virginia. That's where we'll be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I have no clue. What's going to go down or whatever. All I know is we're going on the road. We'll be at Tall Pines, Virginia, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The good Lord's willing and the creeks don't rise. Man, it needs to quit raining. It just rains and rains and rains and rains and rains. Wow. Well, I guess I'm going to have to jump on that old caboose all by myself tonight since Charlie isn't with me. And hope I don't miss it. You know what I'm saying? I've got it down pretty good as it comes down around. I wait for a certain point, and then I get it. But anything's possible with me. So, okay, tomorrow night, if you're interested in UFOs, extraterrestrial beings, aliens, such as aliens, visitations, and deductions. Oh, man. Not deduction, abductions by the aliens into their spacecraft, and so on and so forth. Chad Meek will be with us tomorrow night. He's making a motion picture, and I want you to join us as he discusses and tells us about actual things that have taken place and where they have taken place. He has pictures on his website, so on and so forth. So join me tomorrow night for Chad Meek, who is making a motion picture. And you would be surprised who is in that motion picture. And when I give you the website tomorrow, as we put it up on the show page, you can go there and find out for yourself. Now, I'm not talking about some rinky-dinky motion picture. I'm talking about a real picture that is going to be presented. So, if you like flying saucers, if you want to leave this world or fly around in this world or have the other world come to us, if you're interested in all that stuff, then you be with me tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the George Espinlove Show, because we are going to get it done one more time. Well, we're going to get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say thank you to Linda Katz. I sure am sorry that her phone was given out on her, but we'll have her back. Pick up right where we left off. Wherever you're at, remember there's a whole lot of love coming to you from the Funny Farm. We mean that. Email us, georgece@comcast.net, georgece@comcast.net. So, if it's nighttime where you're at, have a great night. If it's already daytime, have a fine today or tomorrow, whatever it is. But regardless of where you're at and what it is, till tomorrow night, same time, 6:30 p.m. Tune in. But until then, this is George Espinlove saying, don't take no wooden nickels. Be kind one to another. God bless you. Good night, everybody.